Hello and welcome to After the Bell, the show after the show. This week we're talking about Do or Die. I'm Dylan.
I'm George.
And I'm Max.
Alright, well that's all the pleasantries out the way. Let's start with first match on the card, the TLC match. Alright, so how did...
I had predicted...
I was just
Sorry.
about to
Go
say,
ahead.
how did everyone's predictions go? And I was going to straight up ask you. So, you predicted, and we'll just all say our predictions. So, you predicted who was going to win?
I predicted that the man with the plan, Brian Kendrick, was going to walk away with the victory.
I personally said that I thought that TJ Perkins was going to win that. And, Max, you said who was going to win?
I said Sami Zayn was
So
going to win.
you said
it.
Zayn. So you were the only one of us to actually get the prediction correct. Which, I mean, when you think about it, I thought personally, like, the reason I picked Perkins was because I thought, being voted into the match with, 20-something votes to nothing, he was going to have the best chance to win. Because he was going to have that fire and he was going to be like, hey, this is my chance, I better not screw this up.
Yeah.
As you said earlier, and then I'm like, you guys, what were your opinions on it personally, like, in terms of prediction?
I honestly really did expect Brian Kendrick to somehow sneak away with the win. Sure, he wasn't well versed in TLC matches, even though he had competed in one about 10 years ago with Paul London as his tag team partner.
Yeah.
But even so,
Yeah. Which, Max, what made you pick the right choice and pick Sami Zayn? Like, baffles me.
I'm actually a fan of Sami Zayn, and
okay.
to me, he's worked so hard to get where he's at. That's why I believe that he had the big opportunity to win that championship tonight here at Do or Die.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, and moving on, and the match itself. The match itself was fairly amazing. I mean, we had the ladder bridge that Perkins was put across and Zayn jumped through. We had, we had so many spots. We had Kendrick stealing Zayn's turnbuckle DDT. What do you guys think?
Honestly, I think the big thing in the match for me came when I think TJ Perkins busted Brian Kendrick open.
I mean, I honestly don't think that changed the match too much personally, because I think really, other than maybe a bit of visibility, it wouldn't have made too much of a difference to him.
Actually, Dylan, to contradict your point, I actually think it made a world of difference for Brian Kendrick, as I feel it opened his eyes and turned him into a more rabid kind of feeding frenzy type of guy that when you see your own blood, you just go crazy.
Fair enough.
And I think that pumped up his adrenaline to the max, and he was trying to do everything he could to win the match. I think his plan went out the window as soon as he saw blood.
Yeah, which, I mean, rightly so. But, I mean, I guess that's what cost him, because, you go in there with a plan, and the moment you step away from your plan, of course you're going to have some issues. Then we see Perkins, who should have gone in there with that fire under him, with the, I can't lose attitude. And then we have the winner of the match, Zayn, which did surprise me, honestly. But I guess he's always got that fire and that passion to win, doesn't he?
Yep. Agreed.
Alright, and moving on from there, we talk about the tag team match. Now, I thought the Hardys was going to win. I believe, Max, you said you thought the Wyatts were going to win?
Yep, definitely.
And George, who did you have picked? It was
Cesaro and Sheamus,
that's right, yeah. So we all got that wrong, with Enzo and Cass winning that, and that was an interesting match in its own right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
I agree.
one of the biggest dynamical change during the match was the whole, oh, but now you've beaten this person, a new team comes down, and you're already weakened. And I think that's a big reason why none of the initial couple teams even stood a chance to win.
Yeah.
Yep, but
But
for me, one of the biggest shockers came when I believe it was Sheamus who snuck in that pinfall against Braun Strowman, of all people.
Yeah,
definitely.
that was pretty crazy. I mean, we were talking about other things at the time and didn't even spot that. And talking about the match itself, there was so many things happened. I mean, first you had American Alpha and the New Day. You had the best slap in the face I've seen. He just Jason Jordan, I believe it was, grabs the trombone and just throws it to the ground. That was the best slap in the face.
That was music to my freaking ears.
And then you have them go on to eliminate the New Day, and then you had the New Day turn around and were like, all right, well, we're out. And then from there, you have coming into the match, we had who came in after them? New Day.
I believe it was Cesaro and Sheamus.
New Day got eliminated, and Cesaro and Sheamus came in.
New Day got eliminated, and Alpha had to go against Cesaro and Sheamus.
Yeah.
Then Alpha got eliminated. Then Cesaro and Sheamus beat also the Wyatts afterwards.
Yes, you are correct. And then after beating the Wyatts, Enzo and Cass came down to spoil their party and spoil their fun. I believe that.
Yep.
That's what happened.
So Enzo and Cass got the upset over Cesaro and Sheamus, but
the
then
Hardys come out, and Enzo and Cass pulled off the win against the Hardys as well. Which I think the good thing about that for them is it proves that they're not one-trick ponies and that they can beat more than one person.
Yeah.
Very true.
Which, talking about one-trick ponies, that awesomely ties into the next match, the women's match. I actually picked the match correctly, personally. You guys, one of you picked Charlotte and the other picked... I don't actually remember who picked who.
And I believe I was the one who picked... I picked Nikki, I believe.
I don't actually remember. I mean, we could always run the tape back on that, but couldn't be bothered. And so I got that right, which was interesting to me as well, the fact that I didn't actually... I picked Paige to win, but I didn't think it was going to happen. And let's talk about the match itself. And you talk about the match and you're like, okay, in that match, we had, quite a few massive eliminations. Like, at the very beginning, the first elimination was Natalya got eliminated by Brie. Then you move on to the second elimination of the match, was Charlotte. That was a big elimination. Then you had Carmella go out. You had Sasha come out as well. And as the match moved on, more and more of the bigger names in the match got eliminated early. And we were left with, in our final four, we had Paige, Leva, Bayley, and Becky, I believe. And,
that is correct.
Really, that was... I think the most interesting part of that to me was the fact that I honestly, some of the people that got eliminated early, I didn't expect to get eliminated early, but I also think that, some of the younger, brighter stars should have lasted longer in that match. What do you guys think?
Honestly, for me, the most shocking part of the match was when Charlotte came back and just threw out, I believe, I forgot who the last one was in with Paige. I think it was Leva.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she complained about that when Charlotte was all like... Charlotte said something along the lines of, keep my championship warm for me so I can... that's the only reason I helped you, was so I can beat you and take the title, and then,
to me, it sounds like Charlotte's got a hidden agenda on her hands, and I wouldn't count the queen out if I
But
was Paige, because
but
she'd always have to be looking over her shoulder.
but then again, Paige was all like, "Well, you know what? I'm gonna give Lever a title shot, um, at oh, excuse me, give her a title shot at the next week of FNF." And with that said, do you think Paige is gonna retain, or do you think we're gonna have a shock upset victory?
Honestly, I
Well,
think Paige is going to retain.
You say that now, but then you think about it, and you think psychologically, with Paige saying that
You
Charlotte's,
know, Dylan,
but
I'm not one for conspiracy theories,
but when you,
but something tells me, a little birdie tells me that maybe there's a secret alliance going on between Charlotte and Paige that we don't know
I don't
about.
think there is, honestly, and I honestly think that's going to be proven. And I personally think that after Paige saying, "You know what, Charlotte, you're never getting a title shot," kind of thing for what you did, I think it's in Charlotte's best interest to attack Paige, and I think it's in Charlotte's best interest to make sure Leva
Right?
wins, because if Leva wins, she can always come back and have another shot at the title. What do you guys think?
Yeah, but as they say, two birds of royalty flock together. Paige is also from a royal wrestling family, much like Charlotte is.
Yeah, but that doesn't really mean anything. You know that as much as I do. In this business, it's about who wins and who loses. It's not about, oh, my mom's a wrestler, your dad's a wrestler. Hey, let's be friends because we've had family members in the business. No, it's nothing like that. But
Hey, you never know, though. Stranger things have happened.
oh, very true, very true. Max, you're being awfully quiet there, man. What do you think about this particular match and, the outcome of it and the repercussions of it?
honestly, in my opinion, I feel as maybe Paige didn't deserve the win. Maybe that might have been, all of Charlotte's. Obviously, Charlotte came in and gave pretty much Paige a pretty good, easy win over it. Maybe Paige wouldn't have won it even if Charlotte didn't interfere in it. Maybe that might have been it, and maybe that's why we might have a new women's champion this upcoming week of FNF next week.
That's a very good viewpoint. I think now we need to move on to the next match, which was the Rumble itself. And I said Seth would win. Max, you said AJ Styles would win, and George said that Jericho would win. All of us got it wrong.
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, we all got it majorly wrong. And I think some of it has to do with the unpredictability of the match itself, but I also think one of the interesting factors was Finn Balor was in there number 2, and he continued on and won. That just shocks me. And when we talk about the match itself, we also joked and predicted who would get the most eliminations. Now, Brock Lesnar got 9 eliminations. I think that goes to again prove that he is a beast. What do you guys think?
Do you want to go ahead, George?
Yeah. Just go for it. Why don't you
Well,
go?
honestly, the match itself was absolutely, it was a fantastic match with Finn Balor channeling his inner Rey Mysterio to pull out the win. Brock Lesnar taking everybody.
You're breaking up with us,
50
mate.
suplexes in that match alone.
Yeah, you broke up with us for about half a sentence. You mind repeating the last sentence you said?
Shit.
Don't
Goddamn microphones. Right. Dylan, can't you hire production truck people who can actually have microphones at work?
You know what? It's Kevin Dunn's fault. Everything is Kevin Dunn's fault. Those goddamn dentures, we need to super glue them into his mouth next time. That's all I have to say. We had actually,
Yes, I
what?
agree.
Let's just right now start talking about that. I just want to talk about that quickly, and quickly go over the fact that what the hell happened in production to have the match jump
I don't
order, and then
even
we went back and skipped
what the
back
hell
and watched the
happened in.
rest of it, and we missed one whole elimination of it was Michaels getting eliminated by Daniel Bryan. Now,
I think I was in the bathroom when Michaels got eliminated.
Yeah,
so.
you were gone during that time.
no, we were all sitting
Yeah,
there,
but
and
even so, when I came back, didn't Austin get eliminated and
yes,
sneak back
the moment
in? Or
you came back, that happened, and then we found out that it was a production truck issue, and that Austin's elimination happened later, and that none of us saw the Michaels elimination because we all completely missed that because it was just bizarre.
Yeah.
Which
all I can say is, to quote Vince McMahon, somebody back there is this close to being fired.
yeah, and I'm gonna just say straight up, I have no clue what the hell happened in terms of who screwed up. I was having a chat with a couple people at the time, and it seems like either
Yeah, I don't even
Dunn's
know
dentures
what
again,
happened
which
there. We
I
just
mean,
jump forward, then
let's
we
be
jump
honest,
backwards.
it's gonna be Dunn's dentures no matter what.
For 50 minutes, then we went backward again. I don't know what was going on.
Or it was one of the interns. Anyways, we move on from that, and
but anyway,
one of you wanted to talk about
now what about
the whole
part-timers and looking towards the future?
So one of you, I forget who it was, during the show mentioned the fact of, hey, we have these part-timers, what's going to happen in the future, what kind of matchups can we see?
That was me.
Do we want to talk about this?
We might as well, honestly, since here, I'll actually start us off. We had these part-timers, we didn't expect a lot of, surprise entrants, and then we have all these, we had John Cena, we saw Shawn Michaels, we saw all these people coming in and out. And what I find is interesting is that you have these part-timers, and then you look at a roster. This is where worlds collide. This is where you have dream matches that you wouldn't see anywhere else. You won't see them in FNF. And again, we have the chance to have these part-timers in here. But what I find really exciting about this is that they don't even have to go against the roster that we have. Maybe a part-timer could go against a part-timer or something like that, It would make it interesting because, this is our first ever, do or die pay-per-view. And so, this is just the first wave of part-timers. You're not going to expect what's going to happen.
Yep. Our world colliding with the new world.
And I actually have an exciting announcement I'd like to quickly put out there. Last week I was talking about how there was a deal with Gallows and Anderson going through. We were in the final stages of finalizing that deal. So in the next few weeks, expect them to pop up somewhere. That's all I can say.
And then,
wow.
Yeah, and then this was just our first pay-per-view too, nevertheless. So, with do or die, we have to look into the future. Obviously, Dylan, you're our general manager. So
I'm guessing your next question is going to be, what's the next pay-per-view? I'm actually...
Yeah, obviously,
I'm chomping at the bit to talk about it. Like, I'm really excited to talk about the next pay-per-view.
Yeah. But...
Well, then don't keep us waiting, GM. Do tell.
Alright, so, effectively, there's always this one gap pay-per-view that everyone's like, oh god, it's going to be that one drag pay-per-view that no one actually wants to watch, because it's that one between the two major events of the year, right?
Yeah,
well,
obviously.
I'm changing that.
Right.
This event is going to have nothing to do with our current roster. It's going to have something to do with roster expansion. Effectively, it's going to be a one-day, one pay-per-view tournament. That tournament is to determine who gets to move on and join our active main roster. So you could be people like Joe Hendry, if he wasn't already in the company, that's someone you could expect to be in that tournament. People that we
So
pick
in other
up, like
we see a lot of
sorry, what were you saying?
I said so we're expected to see a lot of indie guys coming in
Exactly.
here in FNF, and then we're gonna see
I
them
mean,
compete. Just
And the interesting thing about it is the winner is guaranteed a contract with the company for a minimum length of 1 year.
Wow.
Right? So minimum length
that
of,
is actually so.
So the minimum length of that contract will be till the end of that year, in terms of like the end of that calendar year. Which the interesting thing being, there's gonna be a lot of people in this tournament. There's other people in the tournament. If fans turn around and say, "Oh, I like this guy," or "I like this guy," what's stopping me from turning around and saying, "You know what? We might end up hiring this guy full time."
Yeah.
You know, and it's very interesting. But I don't want to give away too much. But let's just say we have some very big names in our roster and in our part-time roster. And maybe that final match, even if you've won the tournament, maybe you're going to have to fight one more match, and maybe that match isn't going to be against someone else from that tournament. That's all I can say.
So with that being said,
what was that?
So, we're going already into the future, and I'm actually excited about this. But I wanted to bring up something with George. I don't want to start anything with you, George, but you kept talking about your past wrestling experience, and
Max, before
I don't
you
want
say
to
something
see
that you're gonna regret, I just want to put something out there. If you say anything that gets you into trouble and you need some training, I got a few guys that would be more than willing to teach you. Namely, Daniel Bryan said that quote, he's happy to teach anyone that I put in front of him.
It's just the thing is that George has been talking about his past experience, with wrestling and all that. It's just you just can't bring that up though. I get it. You were an old wrestler and all that, but you know what? This is FNF. This is the future. We have these talented superstars, and you know what? You can't talk about that because you haven't set foot in that ring. And then you want to talk about your past
Blah.
Hang on. Just calm it. George, what would you say in response to that? That you're, quote, an old wrestler who hasn't fought in this ring, so you should just shut up about it.
Yeah, no, not happening. I may be old, but old school is still cool. And if you step out of line with me again, boy, I'll bitch slap your ass back to 1985.
Guys, calm down, guys. I have an idea. Now, I said this.
Yeah, I've got a better idea that would involve me slapping the crap out of you, boy.
How about you just shut up, George?
How about you shut up the hell up, George, and just let me speak? Now, I said the next pay-per-view was about indie talent, and I mean, well, Max, technically you'd be considered indie talent because you've never wrestled in any main promotion, and George, you're kind of a bit of a washed-up has-been, so don't get ahead of yourself.
Washed-up has-been? Look who's talking.
So I am proposing that the two of you meet one-on-one in a steel cage. The man who escapes the cage keeps his job at the commentary desk. The man who doesn't escape the cage will be pit in a series of matches each week against an increasingly tougher opponent. So you may want the first week get out there and face, I don't know, Braun Strowman. Then you may get out there and face Brock Lesnar. And you will spend an entire month fighting all these big guys to prove that you may have lost the other guy, but you're not that big of a pussy.
Well, you know what? I feel like you should put up your shoes again one more time, George, because you know what? You're about to get your ass handed to you.
And you know what? I'm gonna make
All
one
right,
last claim for
all
this
right, you
match.
little noob.
Instead of,
Oh,
I'm not gonna get in
you
there and
think
be
you
a
can run
referee
your mouth
because
and get away with it?
I don't want to be a special guest ref. But
If it's a fight he wants, I'll be more
you
than
know
willing
what?
to come out of retirement.
All I have to say to you guys
Because
is, hey, I just want to say one thing. Don't you involve me in this shit. Because I swear to God, you involve me, you're in for a world of pain. I totally haven't been training with Brock Lesnar. Anyways, yeah, there's that. So, I guess, talking, you know what? I really love these arguments that we just had. You know what? I'd like to see the two of you argue about something else. I have one last topic for you to argue about before we have to wrap up the show here. The champion, Finn Balor. Do you agree with him being the champion? Either of you?
yes,
You both agree?
Yeah, I agree definitely on that.
Well, there you go. You can't argue over that. I have a few other ideas. Alright, here's one more idea. Who is the best professional wrestler in our company, including part-timers? I'd like to know your opinion.
I gotta go with it. I gotta go with Mankind on that one.
Of
You're
course you do.
joking. Yeah. But I seriously would recommend you casually visit a psych ward, just casually, and just be like, hey, am I mentally stable? You know, just casually.
Well, yeah, of course
And
I'm gonna go with somebody who's psycho and unstable. That just makes
what
it all
about
the
you, Max?
more interesting.
Well, I'm actually gonna go with the new generation. Actually, I want to say with AJ Styles. You know, I believe he is one of the talented people out there, and as well, if anything else, well tied up with them, I'd say Seth Rollins. Like, I can't argue with you on that one, Dylan. He's very talented as well.
Thank you. I like that. Alright, we're running out of time for this week's episode of After the Bell. Any final comments, guys?
Tune into the next pay-per-view to see George get his ass handed to him by yours truly.
I mean, this is only a concept at the minute. I think we're gonna have to chuck it on Twitter and see what people think.
Well, either way, he's gonna eat his own words soon enough.
With that said, I'd like to thank both of you for coming on. And I think that draws a close to After the Bell for this week. Thanks for listening, everyone. Again, there's going to be another poll on this video. Vote again if you think we should eventually become a live show. Because this shit would be funny live, in my opinion. Alright, thanks everyone. See ya.